Okay, this is Deepak, and I'm sorry this is the second Facebook Live today, but I felt compelled because I'm in an extraordinary meeting right now with extraordinary people, with an extraordinary brainstorming session on how to tackle the number one epidemic of that which we call civilization. Guess what that is? It's violence. Violence is the number one disease of that which we call civilization. We can't even call our world a civilized world. There is violence on the streets, there's violence in homes, there's violence against women, there's violence against children, there's violence internationally, there's, of course, war, terrorism. We call this civilization, but it's actually insanity. And if we accept this as normal, then we are all declaring our own insanity. So I hope you are all going to take part in this amazing project that we are going to come up with. And I'm going to introduce you to some of the most amazing people that are brainstorming on how to cure this number one disease that afflicts everyone, and nobody even calls it a disease. Nobody calls it a public health crisis. And the first thing is that we have to realize that violence is a disease. And this disease affects almost everyone. Directly or indirectly, every human being on our planet is affected by this disease. So I'm here in a very wonderful location, and this is the office of Ray Chambers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to first ask you to meet Lena.
Hello.
Hi, Lena. So tell everybody who you are and what you're doing.
So my name is Lena Nasser, and I'm running the Chopra Mind Brain Institute right now, which is a nonprofit designed to change how we think of health and how we practice health, and bringing integrative health to the forefront. And we see violence as a big epidemic healthcare crisis that needs to change, and we're right now brainstorming how we're going to do that.
Okay, so now Erica Ford, who's actually the founder of Life Camp and Peace is a Lifestyle. Erica, give a little history of how you and I and Eddie got together, and since then what has happened.
So we got together because I had challenged Deepak around the whole question of yoga and meditation. I didn't think that it was something that could be impactful and effective and even taken up as being something cool in our community. And Deepak came to our community. He worked with some of our young people, some of our parents who were impacted by violence, and we now have an Urban Yogis program that is in various different cities and different countries. And now we have a model that is under the mayor's office in New York City called the New York City Crisis Management System, where we address violence in a very holistic kind of way. We have over 52 organizations that work together to reduce violence in New York City and 18 different sites. So we're doing it.
So Erica, what's your dream? If we could harness the resources of all these people all across the world who totally agree with what everyone is saying, what would be your dream?
So having an Urban Yogis Academy would be one thing. Having over 1 million people take a peace pledge and take personal responsibility to make peace a lifestyle. Training urban yogis and maybe building 100 urban yogis that can go into 5 of the most dangerous cities and build our program and expand and partner with other brothers and sisters who are on the ground doing the work, and just have people committed to being peacekeepers and helping make safe zones in different communities and different parts of the cities where our children, the communities are plagued with violence, and our children don't feel safe and our parents don't feel safe in sending the kids out. And just having in your home, as our sister in Brooklyn does, kitchens of consciousness, and where you use your ability to cook and make a meal and build your family and be healthy. And so We're going to come together as one, under the sun, all of us together. You see, we don't run. Violence might be a disease, but it's not going to affect me. I'm down with Deepak and Tupac, so we're going to take it to the top. The violence will stop, because that's what we do. Peace.
So, Eddie, so this whole project started with, Erica and I having a conversation along with Russell Simmons, and you came along and you offered your leadership and training for making peace a lifestyle through yoga, meditation, 7 spiritual laws, and tell us a little bit about how far we've come.
Well, we've come pretty far. It's hard to follow up on Erica after that because I'm not going to.
We're going to go back to her and she's going to perform for us.
But we've come really far. We have the Urban Yogis have trained about 150 kids so far over the past couple years. We have a good handful of solid teachers, Shaquille Johnston and Shaitan McMillan, Raheem and Tyrell, and a bunch of others. We have some branches in Rio, in the favelas there, in Stockholm and in London. We have a growing interest from youth who are seeing that yoga and meditation is actually quite a cool thing to do, and it's not just for blonde-haired women in tight pants anymore, but it's for everyone to catch hold of themselves and to figure out what their purpose in life is and how they can actualize all of their inherent creativity. And we also think that people really do prefer to be happy and to not be violent than to have to act on violence all the time and be in situations where that's their only recourse. So people reclaim their power through knowing their inner power. And it's only when we don't have our inner power that we have to try to control people with outer forms of violence. So Mahatma Gandhi, who famously said, "Be the change you want to see in the world," was once asked by a reporter, "Mahatma, what do you think of Western civilization?" And he said, "I think it would be a good idea." So I think that we would like to help restore that by being the change and by realizing that everyone really does have civilized beingness inside of them.
And Chopra, you've been with us all these years, right from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your background, and especially in the entertainment business. I heard you mention the five the 5 principles of the hip-hop culture. So tell us about that a little bit.
So thank you. My name is Chopra Kears. I worked in the music industry for 10 years. I started at Def Jam in the early 90s with Russell Simmons, and I love hip-hop. I grew up on the culture, and what people forget is that hip-hop is a culture. It's a way of life. And so there are 5 elements of hip-hop. There's b-boying, which we know as dancing or break dancing. There's DJing, there's MCing, and there's also fashion and graffiti. And then the 5th element is consciousness. And so when we shift the consciousness of hip-hop and it becomes more commercial, we lose the heart and soul and the minds of our young people. So what we talked about also in this meeting is the vision of creating a hub of information, giving access to young people the information, meditations, recipes on cooking and creating wellness in the home, but remixing it in a language that our young people understand. I left the music industry to do this transformative work, and I do a lot of work with Life Camp, working with parents and educators to transform the mindset so that they don't project the fears in their heart onto the minds of their young people. And what we also talked about was working with people like Queen Afua to bring kitchens of consciousness and community into the home. So we're looking to remix Deepak's 21-day meditation.
Let's do it right away. I mean, you don't need permission to do that.
Awesome.
Hey, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to come back to you.
So yes, we're looking to integrate, to restore the culture of hip-hop using these transformative tools to make them cool again to be received.
Thank you, Chopra. And you, sir, you've cut your hair. I almost didn't recognize you.
That was a violent act of me cutting my hair.
Yeah.
Wanted to look like me.
Yes.
Introduce yourself.
One of the things that I think, how do you confront end violence without being violent? You know, Charles Darwin spoke about the origin of the species, that, species that survives and make, himself comfortable where there can be more people to do what that war. We have to change the way the media portrays violence. We have to change the world. Every country has an army in case there be a threat, that have to be violent. We have to make sure that children understand what is the difference of defending themselves and violence. For every single child, when you look at statistics of people being shot or killed, even though some of the violence is going down, that there are children being born who are new people that are instrumental in playing in this violence. So we never get a chance to balance it, because as the new people stop, the old people stop doing the violence, the new people start doing the violence. We want to see how we can change that.
Okay, and Megan, we're actually in your office space, so tell us a little bit.
Not my office space.
Well,
Ray Chambers.
yeah, Ray Chambers. So what is this space where we are right now?
So we are at the office of Ray Chambers, who's the UN Special Envoy for Health and Agenda 2030 and for malaria. And so across our portfolio, many of our initiatives do focus on various global health areas, but something that Ray in our office is thinking through more is how can we address peace? And I think something exciting that's coming out of this conversation is how can we bring together partners to collaborate across sectors to really, as you said, Deepak, treat this as a global health crisis. And in saying that, and similar to how Ray Chambers and team and various partners address malaria, how can we bring together partners to create a strategy, set clear goals, and work backwards from those goals and really have impact? So sort of collaborate around a collective strategy to achieve, the impact that we want to. In terms of
we have Peace Day coming, September 21.
September 21st.
I think we can somehow incorporate some of these ideas.
Absolutely, and I think the most important part about Peace Day on September 21st is making sure it's sustainable, so it doesn't just live on that day. It goes past the 21st.
Okay, and then I'm going to come back to you. You're also from the office of Ray Chambers,
yes,
right?
Hi,
and
I'm
what
Jasmine.
are you doing, Jasmine, right now?
So my focus, as Megan spoke to, is focusing on malaria and our different health initiatives. But I'm also involved with working with youth, high school students, and violence. I've seen the impact that it's had on the young people, and it has such a rippling effect when one person is lost in a community. So just listening to all the ideas around the table of how we can work collectively, and I really think this is something everyone around the world can get behind to stop the violence and move forward to a more peaceful society.
We are back with Erica. And Erica, you're a real hip-hop superstar, so give us a demonstration of what you did earlier.
So I'm not a real superstar hero. We have the urban yogis are not only yogis, they are the real superstar heroes. Killy, who is the main urban yogi, is, like, to me, one of the hottest artists out right now. He has a new song, so we can definitely get them to remix what the 21 days
meditation,
as well as put, if this is a full year launch, then let's look at quarterly doing some fabulous stuff and engaging the young people into peace, because peace is not cool right now, and that's one of the things that we always went through with the urban yogis. How do we make both sides cool? And so I think that actually, Deepak, you are the hip hop genius, so I think we should do a duet.
Okay.
I drop bars, you drop bars, we create stars.
We can do it.
It's all about peace in these streets. I don't know, I'm gonna just shoot it off the dome, because the words they roam. I got verbs and nouns, I don't know. I wear a crown, they call me a queen. I'm from that borough they call Queens. This is my city. I keep the peace. I took it down 3%, but we could go a lot more if you join the team. You see what I mean? I'm just not an MC. I run with my son. This is how we own it. You see?
Woo!
Let's go.
Okay, here we go. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll be back to you, and we might even do an Indiegogo campaign for this, and we should go all the way.
We talked about doing a day of healing in Chicago because there was so many people impacted by that violence, and I think this would be a perfect day, September 21st, to do the Day of Healing in Chicago and get people mobilized around a campaign for peace. And, we often go to other countries and are the global resource and support and cavalry to come in and promote peace and help revitalize and give people oxygen masks and be the human defibrillators to pump love and stuff back into those countries. Let's not do it. Let's do it now for our own right here in Chicago.
So a lot of people from all over the world saying, how can we serve? How can we get involved? We'll get back to them, right?
We are going to get back to you. Stay tuned real soon.
With that,
Peace
God
out.
bless.
Peace
Peace.
out.
Peace out.
Peace out.